welcome to part 3 of the $25 modular table construction. In this video we're going to look at texturing and painting the table that we built in the other two episodes. If you haven't seen those, go to miniwargaming.com and you can find them there. I just wanted to mention that your mileage might vary. It cost me $25 to do this one, but I had access to some other materials. If you want to do this from scratch with nothing else, it might cost you closer to $50. But you'll have lots of leftover materials for future scenery projects. Check out the first one for a bit more explanation on that. Ready to put the glue down. So I'm just putting glue and there's some paint already on there. And I'm just going to mix this all together on the table with a paintbrush and put my coffee grinds, my material choice, on top of that. And there's all my glue and paint on there over it. So these are used coffee grounds. Why do I use that? Well, it's already kind of the right color and they're free. So there's what it looks like when it's all covered in coffee. I had almost a full tin of coffee grounds that I collected and dried that were used from work, and so I used that. That whole tin, or about 2/3 of it, was what it took to cover this table. And so there's what it looks like already. So I put a nice thick layer on and I dumped it off onto another board once it was ready. I actually had a bit of a problem with some of the stuff sticking, so just something to be careful about. Make sure you put lots of paint down below. Now what this is some little gravel I had laying around. It's actually like fish tank sort of gravel, and with a big glob of white glue just poured some on there, and a couple little rocks that I had as well. And just the idea there is just to make it look like a bit more of a hill scene. Now as you can see, that's those lines that I did with a wire brush compared to that. They're not nearly as nice. I really should have broken that. Then what I did is I spray painted this black. Didn't really need to do that, but I had some laying around and I wanted to speed things up. That's one of the benefits of using ceiling tile, is that you can spray paint it without it melting. And just laying out the everything here. Okay, so now that I've got all that done, what I did is I have a Citadel spray gun, and I used some dollar store brown paints. I watered them down nicely, shook it all up, and sprayed everything a medium brown. So that's all I've done here. Just tried to spray all the surfaces medium brown. And you also got to watch out where you're spraying. You don't want to spray everything else in your garage, so you got to be a little bit careful. After that it was done, I did a nice light coat of a light brown, sort of a highlight. Now this one here, this is a picture with a flash, so that's why it looks so much different, but basically that's what it looks like now. So I've got everything painted up, and here's that future floor polish I was talking about. So this one actually is called Pledge. It's by Armstrong. I believe it is Armstrong brand flooring stuff, but the future thing is what you're looking for. So it is an acrylic base, and you can actually use this when you're painting for making washes as well. But it's a glossy medium, so that's not the greatest. I was lucky that my bottle top unscrewed and the spray bottle that I had screwed right on there, so it was perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. I covered the table in a spray. So here I am sprinkling the flock on the table. Sorry about the video, the lighting there is terrible. You'll see some better pictures later. So I'm just sprinkling it on in a random area. I found that the salt shaker sort of thing on those bottles wasn't the greatest. Now I'm just switching up to a different one. So this is the light turf. So I had 3 different colors. You don't have to use 3. That's just what I had access to, so I used them. And you see I'm not doing anything particular here. Just sprinkling it on areas, trying to vary it around a bit, kind of random. And I don't want to have any patterns on anything. And the last color, that's a burnt grass. There you go, I can see in focus now. And again, just sprinkling on areas that I missed the other ones. I don't want it to go on too thick, just want a light dusting basically. Just enough that you can see it. And now I'm just spraying the future floor polish over top of everything. So I want to give it a nice wet thick coat so that way it all sticks down and it makes it a bit more durable. What I'm doing is I've mixed up some gray paint, and again, sorry about the quality. And I'm just painting on a medium gray on the rock edges. So I'm painting a medium gray on the rock edges here, and just trying to get it deep inside those cracks so I have a nice gray base there. And I'm going to do that on all of the different, just doing that on all the rocks that I see. Doesn't have to be exact because I'm going to dry brush this after. And if I was able to hit something else too, it just looks like a bit more rocks. Okay, now what I'm doing, I'm just putting a bit more white. This is a medium gray and just dry, or a lighter gray I should say. I already did the medium gray. And just dry brushing on there to give myself a nice rock face. And I have all these sitting around here, so I'm just kind of moving back and forth between them. The paint's still kind of wet from before, but that's okay. Just want to get a touch on. Now I'm going with the white and just trying to dab just a little bit on there, just to give it a bit of variation. And you can see nothing too exact, just do it nice and quick. And just trying to make sure I get every area just a little bit. You could do this with a sponge, I suppose, or a paintbrush, doesn't really matter. I'm just using this because that's what I had. And the last one. So you can see I'm not really loading up any more paint on here, just trying to dab it on. And there's that Pledge Future Floor Polish again. And sorry about the blurriness of that photo. Okay, so here we're all done. So what I did with that Future Floor Polish is I sprayed everything really, really thick. So covered everything up with a really heavy layer of that, as heavy as I could. I basically used a half a bottle of it. And I just wanted to make sure it soaked right through all of this this turf stuff, so that way it's going to be on there permanently. Made sure it dried really well before I handled anything. So I'm just going to look through a couple different scenarios. We're all done. Obviously, you're free to do whatever you want with your table. I chose to do a green grass and cliff sort of look, but these concepts will work with any sort of color scheme you want, and any configuration you want. So of course they don't fit together perfectly, but what do you expect for $23? But I think it's adequate for the type of usage it's going to get. And there's some of the different angles looking at the hills. I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. For my first modular table, I think it's a success. And here we are with a little bit of scenery stuck on top of it. Sorry about that animation. So yeah, some jungle stuff. I'm going to do a video on that in a little bit. And some craters, just to give you an idea of the scale of things. And here we are looking at the table from one angle, and you can see how you can reconfigure things to give you a couple different options. Hope you enjoyed this series on the modular table. Come back for more, and yeah, let me know how you do. If you make one yourself, post some comments in here or on the forum. Love to hear about it. Talk to you later.